And joining us now is a man who's in the NFL for over 17 years, has over 18,000 surgeries to his name. He's worked not only with the Chargers, with the WWE, the U.S. Olympic Committee, in the NBA, the MLB, and has been to over 20 combines. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. David Chao.
Yeah, Doctor!
Doc, what's up?
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
Doc, listen, I'm a fan of your work, okay? I think you're an incredibly good guy. I listen to what you say at ProFootballDoc. The only reason I haven't had you on is because, and I guess I was wrong in thinking this, were you the guy that stabbed Tyrod Taylor with a golf tee and then had Justin Herbert start? And I've always been scared to have you on because I would have to talk about that. I just learned that that was not you.
Well, I mean, look, that was Los Angeles Chargers. I'm in San Diego. I, quote, stabbed over 100 different Chargers, including Phillip Rivers, dozens of times, and he's let me talk about it. Thankfully, his stabs did not involve his lungs. But rib blocks are a common thing that happens. No, that wasn't me. But I actually, on my podcast, kind of broke the news on that because we're watching from our war room that day, and all of a sudden, no Tyrod Taylor, here's Justin Herbert. We saw the medical doctor, then we saw reports of him being in the hospital, and we Quincy-like put it together that, oh, he was on the injury report for a rib, all of a sudden last minute. We actually sort of broke the news on it, but then, of course, your guy, Rap Sheet, and then Schefter exploded the news. But we do injury analysis, not injury reporting.
Okay, or stabbing with golf tees.
Right.
Which I should have done more research. I always, and this is going to sound weird, but I've always wanted to protect you almost by not having you on the program because I am a fan of your work. Our people, though, if you come on and I don't ask about that, going to call me a coward. I do ask about that, and you are the guy. Your social media life is going to be vastly different. Wasn't you? Okay.
There you go, Doc.
It wasn't me. But I've injected my fair share of ribs over time and done rib blocks, and I get the peril, and I feel bad for the doctor. And actually, when I wrote about and reported it, I made a point of not putting his name out there so that he
looking out for other doctors. We know how it works. You're a good man. Let's dive into this a little bit. The initial report out of Rap Sheet was that there was a pain tolerance test, standard pain tolerance test that was offered up for an offensive lineman, and then it created an injury, and then he was sore and he wasn't able to do his thing. Then Ian Rappaport had to create. An NFL spokesperson, he says, is clarifying my use of the term pain tolerance test, saying there is no pain tolerance test. The player underwent a typical physical exam. So that person literally said, Ian, you like it around here? What is this? How did he get confused with that? What could that potentially be? And what is the standard physical test at the Combine, Dr. David Chao, who's been to 20 of them, worked his 17 plus years?
Look, there's no question that there's no such thing medically as a pain tolerance test. Are there, quote, pain tests? Sure. Are you tender here? Are you sore here as part of the exam? But it's not like pressing on a body part and can you stand it? Are there tolerance tests? Yes. Is your knee stable? Is your ankle stable? Does your shoulder go all the way out this way? And do you feel some pain or soreness or being loose? Can you tolerate certain things? This had to be a non-medical person that linked the two. Not Rap Sheet. We love Rap Sheet. He's my guy. He's your guy. We love Rap Sheet.
Yep.
But
he's not Aaron's guy.
It's agents somehow, a lay person linking the two as pain tolerance. No, there's tolerance testing. There's some, quote, tenderness testing. But look at this objectively, Pat. Look, these are doctors examining people. This is not the Incredible Hulk with big green hands pulling on someone's ankle. Look, in the football world, you got position players in general, and outside of Pat McAfee, you got punters and kickers, right? And then doctors are like down here, right? In terms of strength and whether how are 32 doctors, even if you pull on someone's ankle and hurt anybody? The force of a 6'5", 308-pound guy landing on his ankle in a pass set is much greater than any doctor pulling. And the only way it could have done something, and I'm not saying that anything was wrong with his ankle, but there was one case, Tyler Croft in 2015 talked about it. And he said his ankle was aggravated by the exam. Well, he came in with a high ankle sprain, 10-week timeline for return. It was 6 weeks at the Combine. He let people examine and tweak on his ankle, and he said the next day it was more sore. But that was a pre-existing injury. So if for a normal ankle to happen, it doesn't happen. And let me say this, and hopefully I'm not over my skis here. I think I'm going to say this because this pain tolerance thing is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm Chinese, so I can say this, but no doctors are taking bamboo shoots into people's fingernails and seeing how long you can stand the pain. It's just not what happens there. So I find some of the offshoot of this a little bit ridiculous.
Okay, thank you for clarifying everything that you just clarified. We from the beginning all the way to the end. What is that? And AJ has a question for you before the bounce home. Isn't there a bounce home that could potentially happen? Is that a
yes in a knee test? Let's say if there's a loose body or a meniscus, a bounce home test, and so does that hurt? Like, do you feel pain? Not how much pain can you stand? That's what I mean.
Oh, gotcha.
That's for tenderness and soreness, no question.
They gave me one time, and I don't know what it told them, but it hurt like a motherfucker. I just hurt. I'm like, yeah, hurts like hell. Whatever you just did. Okay, good. I'm like, no, good.
What? Not really.
I feel like just hyperextending my leg there. Sorry, go ahead, AJ.
Well, the answer is no. If they ask you, does this hurt? The answer is always no. I feel like at the combine, no question.
No, yeah, I was already in the league. Yeah, already in.
You're already in the league. So yeah, of course. But Doc, when you guys, like the doctors examine all these players, I know most doctors, they give a certain grade to each player depending on how healthy they may be. Can you explain what that might be?
I was in college actually.
Each team has different grading systems, just like each GM and scout has different grading systems, and you don't always agree. One team may say grade a guy higher medically or lower medically. It's somewhat subjective despite all the medical testing that's out there. This is why teams send their own medical staff to get their own grades.
Okay, so whenever you look at a guy who missed a couple games, right, last year for USC in Voorhees, then he tears his ACL doing a pointless drill in every offensive lineman's, is that grade what? Like alarm? Like how do you grade that? And what is the messaging that team doctor has to give to actual decision makers? And are they basically all the same?
Well, the messaging is very customized, right? Obviously, unfortunate for this kid.
Sucks.
He tore his ACL, so he's headed for surgery. And what I would tell a team if I were still in the league is obviously he fails a physical right now, but that doesn't make him undraftable. Look, he can be fixed and come back. Maybe not this season, more likely next season. Jeffrey Simmons with the Titans tore his ACL during training, and we panned him at Sports Injury Central saying he isn't going to be ready for the start of the season. But the Titans, he dropped in the first round. The Titans picked him. He's fine now, and he looks like a pretty good draft pick. So it doesn't mean you're undraftable. And by the way, injuries happen every year at the combines. Unfortunately, every other year someone tears their pec in the bench press. Look, last year in Pro Day, David Ojabo tore his Achilles. Oh, yeah. I mean, these are big men doing high-speed activities, and unfortunate things do happen.
So, Doc, you're incredible, by the way, at what you do here. I'm really appreciating, your conversation that we're currently having. I think we were talking to Brett Veach. And A.Q. Shipley asked him a question about an offensive lineman who maybe had a couple red flags for some medical people, but then Veach sent it to a doctor and was like, what do you think? And Veach actually said, I'm sending it just thinking this guy's going to say, do not draft, keep moving. And he actually came back and was like, I think if we're able to do this, and this, we'll be able to handle it. We'll be able to manage it. Are there teams that are known to have, I don't know how to say it, more confident doctors in being able to fix problems? And is there some teams that are ultra conservative? How do they get chosen? And is there any of that type of reputation around the NFL?
For me, knowing who the doctors are in the league personally and having been at the combines, I have an idea of what the different doctors are like. But for the average,
are they just a better doctor? Are the people that are more conservative, do they care more? Or the people that are a little bit more risky with their results, are they better doctors in their minds? How does that even, you know what I mean? How do you even have a difference of opinion on these things?
Well, how do you have a difference of opinion on who the number one quarterback is or the number one draft pick is or who you should select? Differences of opinions happen, and it happens in medicine too. I look at it this way. When we're in medicine taking care of these athletes like you guys, Pat and AJ here, you're driving an Indy car, right? And it's race cars. You guys are race car guys. Any driver can go 200 plus miles an hour on a straightaway. Any doctor can say, smooth sailing, let's go. Anybody can make it through a turn by going slow enough. But the key is in NFL sports medicine, if you want to be successful, is to know when the straightaway is ending, better slow down here, or when the curve is ending, better hit it to hit the ground running. So it's to know what's happening in the whole situation. And it's not a cut and dry formula like look at Patrick Mahomes, high ankle sprain. You're out 4 weeks, 6 weeks. At Sports Injury Central, we said this dog's going to play through because he throws off platform anyways, unlike other people. And so he's going to be able to compensate for not putting that back foot into the ground. So that's what we do at Sports Injury Central. And honestly, it has to do with why you guys are so successful. You guys were there on the field. Well, as a doctor, myself and the other doctors for what we do, were in the room when it happened, right? You know, on the other side of this, we were at combines, we graded people, we did all this stuff, we got people back.
There's a lot of people that want to be in the room where it happened. You know what I mean? A lot of people. Just like my country, I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, I believe. I'm cultured. I've seen it. I know what we're doing right here with Hamilton. Also, shout out to IndyCar. The first race of the season was yesterday. Graham Rahal, 6th place. Erickson, I believe, with a winner. He was Indy 500 winner last year. Dixon in 2nd place. A great IndyCar. Hey, Doc, you're having a great... Hey,
go, Doc.
Doc, you're rolling right now, Doc. You're rolling. Tone Diggs has a question for you.
Doc, so the situation with Brock Purdy, he was supposed to have surgery. There was still inflammation. Now they're going to try to have surgery again. That injury, is that a Tommy John injury? Is that similar to the surgery that Ben Roethlisberger had? What do you think's going on with Brock Purdy?
There's no question it's surgery on the Tommy John ligament. Is it classic Tommy John surgery with the reconstruction? We don't know yet. It hasn't happened. We hope not. We hope it's more Big Ben repair. Look, at the Super Bowl and where I saw you guys a little bit there, you guys were swamped and busy always, so no big hello other than a wave. But I was saying there, this Brock Purdy thing, he could be ready by week 1, but there was no guarantee he was going to be ready by week 1. And how do you project a return timeline when at Radio Row, he hadn't even seen the doctor yet? When he finally saw the doctor who was going to do the surgery, that timeline got pushed back. And now I think people see this is going to be tough, the 49ers, to count on Brock Purdy right now.
Why was that swollen this far after the season? Is that normal, or is it because he threw a little bit after he injured it? What happened there? He slept on it wrong? Why was that thing delayed yet again to this week, I believe? This Wednesday.
It's my belief, and he is going to have surgery at the end of this week. It's my belief that it wasn't so much the swelling, it was the loss of range of motion because of the swelling. And one of the tenets of this Tommy John family of surgeries, whether it's true Tommy John or Tommy John repair, is you want to have full range of motion of the elbow. Just like when you do an ACL, you want to have full range of motion. That's why the doctor chose to wait a little bit.
So it wasn't swelling? It wasn't swelling of it? Because that was the report.
No. Yeah. There's no question there's swelling because there's torn tissue. The ulnar collateral ligament is torn. So there is some swelling. But it's the range of motion, I think, that he didn't have, in addition to the swelling that led for the small delay.
Normal to have the swelling, not normal to have the lack of range of motion whenever surgery's already been scheduled?
Well, the goal is to come in with normal range of motion, and it gives you the best chance of retaining normal motion, which is important for a throwing elbow quarterback.
Interesting.
Doc, what about all this grass and field turf situation going on? We see the players trying to band together, try to get grass everywhere in all the stadiums. They say, hey, the soccer teams can all do it. Why can't we do it? What do you see when you look at the numbers when it comes to injuries with grass compared to some of this turf?
Well, there's no question the better the footing, the more your foot sticks, the faster, the better you can cut, but the higher the potential injuries. It's like a ski binding. If you're a professional ski racer, you crank that binding tight, but if you're a beginner, you leave it loose so your knee can pop out and you don't get hurt. The problem is grass is slicker, which is better, but statistics show it's about one major knee ligament injury a season, and it's half grass, half turf right now in the NFL.
What would you do? You'd make it all grass?
I'd be love to have that problem to be a billionaire, and yeah, I'd probably make it all grass. Look, I'm just glad I can make my backyard grass. That's all I'm worried about.
Amen. Hell yeah. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Doc, one of the bigger conversations this year around injuries was the Tua situation, obviously, with the concussions. You obviously are an analyst of the injuries. Did you know on that first, play where there was a back injury or a concussion, and then there's kind of that mix-up with the whole thing? And then also, what is your thought around the unaffiliated neurological consultants each team has?
Well, first of all, each team has 3 of them, right? One in the booth, one on each sideline. As far as real time, when Tua had that quote back issue, when I saw him go down, I said he's out. Real time Twitter from the war room, etc. I was equally surprised as everyone else that he returned to the game. I can see it being his back, but I'd love more transparency from the NFL. If a pool reporter can talk to an NFL referee after a game, like after the Super Bowl, to get the explanation of the holding call, why can't they talk to the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant or Dr. Sills and hear it immediately, say, this is what happened, it really was his back, and this is why? So I get why people are worried about it. In the big picture, Tua's had 2 documented concussions this season. A lot of people say 3. I get why you would say 3. But, Mitch Morris, center for the Bills, has had 6 total concussions in his career and has come back and continued to play. Kenny Pickett had 2 this season, has continued to play. Tight end for the Steelers, their new young tight end, has had a couple of concussions.
That's his name. He is a dog. How many's he had? Oh, Doc, I fucked it up. That's his name, Friar Muth. We all have to yell his name.
Yeah.
Like that's Muth. We apologize. We messed that up. That's a lot of concussions for those guys, huh, Doc?
Yeah, and look, I think 1 concussion, especially a bad one, is too many, and I'm not advocating it. Look, if Tua asked me and he hasn't, what's the best thing to do for my brain? I'd say quit playing the collision sport of football. But I'd say that for everybody. But to single Tua out to say you can't play anymore, well, what about these other guys that had more? You have to take it very individually is all that I'm saying. And look, and I'm very sensitive to the CTE and concussion issue because I really consider a lot of the people in the league have been my friends, and I am worried about them.
Okay, so are we. We appreciate you so much for joining us. We need to do this again, especially because you didn't stab a guy in the lung.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean, Doc?
That's good. Anytime, my man.
Hey,
Appreciate you.
You were amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. David Chao at ProFootballDoc.
Yeah, dog!
He was fantastic, AJ.
He is. He does a lot, like game day, like I think big time for betting stuff, where he will evaluate people's like who is hurt, who is not hurt, how hurt are they.
Are you talking about Sports Injury Central, pal? SIC?
Yeah, I think I am.
Had polos. He had a polo he
I
was
know.
wearing.
The war room. He sits in the war room and watches games and like analyzes real time injuries.
I love it.